Hello and welcome to part 12 of the RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon. I think we're on part 12 now. Yeah, part 11 was, yeah, okay. So, part 12 of the RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon. Why am I doing this? That's 7. There you go. Le who, sir her. So we're talking about Batman Begins, or I'm talking about Batman Begins, and you're watching this and listening to me talk about Batman Begins. You might be watching as well, so you're watching it and listening to me talking about Batman Begins. Anyway, here we go. This is the French Blu-ray Steelbook edition of Batman Begins, and it also features the Dark Knight. Really cool embossed. I love this steelbook. And it also features the French title of The Dark Knight, Le Chevalier Noir, which literally translated is The Black Knight, which is interesting. There's a bit of a smudge there. Oh well. So yeah. That's my version of Batman Begins. The door is creaking. So before we talk about Batman Begins, let's just... Oh. But before we get to Batman Begins, we've got to address the whole Batman kind of cinematic journey. We started this whole RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon with the 80s and 90s films by Tim Burton and then Joel Schumacher. And when Joel Schumacher went and completely fucked up the whole series with Batman and Robin, that's when Warner Brothers kind of didn't really know what to do with the future of Batman in film. They saw the dailies of Batman and Robin, they were impressed, and they decided to move ahead with the 5th Batman film in the continuity of the Warner Brothers films. And that would be Batman Triumphant, that was the title for it. However, when Batman and Robin was panned critically and didn't make as much money as any of the first 3, they decided not to move ahead with it. But Joel Schumacher was set to reprise his role as the director. George Clooney was coming back, Alicia Silverstone was coming back as Batgirl, Chris O'Donnell was coming back as Robin. Jack Nicholson was involved. He was going to play the Joker again in a flashback scene where the Scarecrow, who was going to be the new villain of the film, was going to use his fear toxin on Batman. He was going to have a flashback of the Joker, and Jack Nicholson would reprise his role. That's a really cool idea. I would have loved to have seen that. And Harley Quinn was going to be involved in a Batman film for the first time. So yeah, and people who are in talks to discuss the Scarecrow, were in talks. I don't know why I said discuss. People who are in talks to play the Scarecrow: Jeff Goldblum, Ewan McGregor, Steve Buscemi. I would have loved Jeff Goldblum to be in a Batman film, period, because I love Jeff Goldblum. And I remember back in the day, back when the internet was in its infancy, I remember going online and reading the rumours that Jeff Goldblum was going to be in Batman 5, and I was so excited about it, even though I was disappointed by Batman and Robin. Anyway, they decided not to go ahead with Batman Triumphant and wanted to move forward with either a Batman Beyond film or a Batman Year 1 adaptation. The awesome Frank Miller book, which I might talk about another time. But yeah, this is a fantastic graphic novel that charts the first year of Batman. Definitely worth a look. But they want to adapt that, and Darren Aronofsky was attached to direct this. He's the director of Requiem for a Dream, more recently The Wrestler, Black Swan. So it would be really interesting to see him direct a Batman film. And he was also bringing Frank Miller in to help him with the film. Again, that just kind of fell through. Then they decided to go ahead with Superman versus Batman. And they had Wolfgang Peterson attached to direct this, and then he just decided to go and make Troy instead. So that didn't end up happening. And there was another one, Batman Dark Knight, that was supposed to be, I can't remember what the story was for that, but there was loads of ideas to reboot Batman and start it all up again, and I think Christian Bale was even approached to play Batman in Superman vs. Batman. In the end, Batman Begins came to be. Christopher Nolan heard Warner Brothers were interested in rebooting the whole thing, and he got involved, and that's how it all started. So, Batman Begins, the film. Let's talk about the film now. I didn't see this until 2009, I think. Yeah, I as a big Batman fan, I was not interested in it at all. I don't know, I wasn't sold on the trailers or anything like that. And then in 2008, I went to see The Dark Knight and was blown away by it, and thought, well, I should probably watch Batman Begins. But it took me a while to get around to getting the DVD. So I got the DVD and I watched it, and I didn't really like it that much. And actually, I did have a copy of it like in 2006, a pirate copy that my dad gave to me. And I tried to watch it, I hate watching pirate films now. I used to love it when I was a kid, but now it's like, oh yeah, it's just horrible quality. I wasn't interested. But I did fast forward to the end, and I enjoyed the ending. Still, I wasn't too interested in Batman Begins. I watched it a second time last year when I got it on Blu-ray, and I loved it. I just enjoyed it a lot more. Really got it, and yeah, when I first watched it, I didn't like the whole the Ra's al Ghul stuff and Liam Neeson and all that. I wasn't too interested in all that kind of stuff, and I didn't think Scarecrow was a great villain. But watching it again, it is a really great film. It's really well made, well told, and it's more about Bruce Wayne than it is Batman, I guess. And it is a great origin story film. You know, the cast is great. Michael Caine as Alfred is awesome. Not how I really envision Alfred, really, but at the same time, he played his part well. And it's like a completely different, well, not completely different, but quite a different take on Batman. It's kind of like more of a reality-based Batman, with the kind of maybe a little heightened sense of reality. It's like it pushes it a little bit, but for all intents and purposes, it is pretty much the most realistic take on Batman, kind of like a modern version of it, I guess. It's told really well. The film opens with Bruce Wayne as a kid falling into the cave in the Wayne Manor, and you know, being scared by the bats and stuff, and then it all plays off the fear. You know, that's the main theme of the film, and how Bruce Wayne becomes Batman because that's what he fears the most is bats, and he wants to invoke fear in other people to scare them, while he kind of sets out on his you know, journey of justice, I guess, just maintaining order and, you know, taking out the bad guys. And in particular, Carmine Falcone, who that is kind of brought in from, I can't remember what it is now, it explained on the Blu-ray, but it's a certain Batman comic, I think it was The Long Halloween, and you see on the Blu-ray, on the documentaries, that they did take kind of like a lot of bits from the graphic novels and the comics and stuff, especially the ending of Batman Year One is very similar to Batman Begins, or it should be the other way around. Christian Bale as Batman. I've never really liked him as Batman. I'm warming to him now, though. I don't think he was that great in Batman Begins. I know people love him, and you know, I don't hate him. I don't even dislike him. I quite like him as Batman. He's grown on me, but the Batman voice always annoys me. You know, it's like, swear to me, where are the other trucks going? And it's like, I don't know. I never really liked it. I get the idea behind it. Like in most of the other Batman films, Bruce Wayne doesn't change his voice at all. And realistically, if you were going to dress up as a bat, you would kind of try and put on some kind of voice. And they're not going to, just give him a different accent, you know. So, I'm Batman. You know, it would... so the growl and stuff, and, you know, he wants to, you know, strike fear in his enemies and stuff. So it makes sense, and I like the idea behind it, but I just think he sounds a bit stupid sometimes. It's a good idea, but it just doesn't really fully work for me. I think it works better in the Dark Knight. And I think I read somewhere Christian Bale said he wasn't too comfortable, like, well, not comfortable, but like he wasn't entirely sure what he was doing on the film, like he was trying to get into it kind of thing. And I think that kind of works for the film. He seems a bit unsure of himself a lot of the time, like the character anyway. And it's good how they made him look young as well, like as a younger Bruce Wayne, like just by making his hair come down a little bit and stuff, he just looked a lot younger. And I like the stuff with Liam Neeson, who plays Ducard, or eventually Ra's al Ghul. And I like the story, the second and the third time around, and we have Killian Murphy playing the Jonathan Crane Scarecrow. I enjoy his character. I like the idea behind his character. I think it was pulled off well in the film, and the whole idea of fear just plays really well in the whole Batman story, I think. And he played him well, but he didn't blow me away with his performance. It wasn't like really stand out, anything to write home about. And then we have what's her name, Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes. She was good. I enjoyed her in the film, but again, she didn't really blow me away or anything. Not that a character like that is supposed to, but you know, she was good for, you know, what the part was. And you know, it was good that it was someone who knew Bruce before, you know, all the stuff happened. And we get the the big origin with you know, his parents being killed and stuff. My parents are dead. And yeah, I really enjoy Batman Begins. Oh, and of course, Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, he's fantastic. I think he's brilliant, the best Commissioner Gordon without a doubt. Yeah, he's great. Not really much to say really, other than that I just really enjoyed his performance and that kind of thing. So Batman Begins, I enjoyed a lot more in future viewings, but it's not my favourite Batman film. I know a lot of people really like it more than The Dark Knight, which is fair enough. So the Blu-ray itself, I've got the steelbook here. I'm going to quickly review this Blu-ray. Okay, so we have additional footage. We have reflections on writing. This is a short, in fact I can tell you the exact time. It is a 1 minute 57 second clip. I won't do the times for all these. I forget what the guy's name is who wrote the film, Christopher Nolan, just talks about like how he was buying loads of Batman graphic novels to get into the psyche of writing the film. Digital Batman, another short minute clip about how they created they used a clip from the film and they replaced it with a completely digital Batman just to show the studio how well they could do it and stuff. Then we have the stunts of Batman Begins. This is really cool. It's just like a kind of a demo reel of like the stuntmen testing out the stunts in like a warehouse and stuff. Really cool stuff. Actually enjoyed that. We have the theatrical trailer, which is more of a teaser than the full trailer. And then we have Behind the Story, which is a load of documentaries, and they're about 15 minutes long generally. But first off we have Tankman Begins, which is a spoof little short film that was made for the MTV Movie Awards in 2005, I think, or 2006. Which is pretty funny, where Jimmy Fallon gets in the tumbler with Batman and all this kind of crazy stuff happens. It's pretty enjoyable. And what's his name? John Heder as Napoleon Dynamite makes an appearance, which is funny. Then the documentaries, The Journey Begins, how the movie was developed, written and cast. Very interesting stuff, and you hear from Christopher Nolan, the producers, and the cast themselves, Christian Bale and so on. What was kind of cool about that was Christopher Nolan said to Christian Bale, because Christian Bale was making The Machinist and he'd lost a lot of weight at the time, and Christopher Nolan was like, you're going to need to put on a bit more weight to be Batman, you know, because I'm going to have to convince Warner Brothers, you know, you're the next Batman, just bulk up a bit. So Christian Bale took it a bit too seriously and put on a lot of weight and became huge, like really massive. And when he turned up on, you know, the set, I guess, I don't think it was the set, they weren't filming yet, but when he turned up to meet all the filmmakers, they were like, he's too big, he's not going to fit in the bat suit. I'm like, that's too much. So he had to lose a lot of weight then, so that's kind of funny. Shaping Mind and Body, the training and rehearsing Christian Bale required for the role. Talks about how he learned this type of martial art that they introduced for the film, and you know, interesting stuff, and how he trained for it and all that kind of stuff. Gotham City Rises, the production design of Gotham City, the Batcave and Wayne Manor. Really interesting how they used this huge warehouse to build like these full streets, like these amazing sets. It's absolutely just fantastic. And the Batcave as well, like a huge set. Really interesting stuff, for me anyway. I mean, it depends whether you like this kind of stuff. Cape and Cowl, the design of the new bat suit. I like the bat suit. For me, I'll always love the Michael Keaton bat suit because it's just great. And a bat suit doesn't look as cool without the yellow symbol, in my opinion. But it was good, and they just show every process of making the bat suit. Now, The Tumbler is a documentary on the creation of the new Batmobile, which I don't like so much. It fits the film. It fits it perfectly. But I'm not a big fan of it. I love like the old Batmobiles, you know, like even the 1966 version and the Tim Burton version. Oh, and also shows like an amazing stunt where they actually would the tumbler goes through the waterfall in the Batcave, and they did that for real, and they actually just had it off stage and literally just catapult launched this tumbler through the waterfall. So they did everything for real with the tumbler, which is really cool. Path to Discovery, filming in Iceland, the origins of Batman's fighting skills. So this is like the opening part of the movie, like with Liam Neeson, and when they have that sword fight on the frozen lake. And there's a really cool kind of behind the scenes look at that whole shoot, and it was probably my favourite part of all the documentaries. Really interesting stuff, how they kind of, you know, even did things like when they're fighting on the frozen lake, they just had a cameraman holding the camera, sitting down on a little sled, and they just slid him across while he's filming the fight, and that shot was actually in the film. Saving Gotham City, how action sequences were filmed using as little CGI as possible. I love this about Christopher Nolan. Not only does he refuse to film in digital, he wants to film in film, but he also refuses to film in 3D, and he wants to do things as practical as possible, which is awesome. It's very rare. I can't even think of anyone who's a big Hollywood director who insists on using as much practical effects as possible and not just copying out and using CGI. Then we have the genesis of the Bat. This is a really interesting one. It actually just talks about the comics and stuff, and how they used the origins of Batman and how they decided to interpret it and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. And then we have a stills gallery which has all the posters and the different versions of posters, and You can see why some of them weren't used because they're terrible. There's some cool ones there though. And then there's the confidential files, which is kind of this interactive kind of files of like the characters and the actors and like just like stats and stuff. And it's cool, you know, but it's not something, you know, if you watch the film, you know, if you want some extra information, I guess it's useful. Otherwise, not so much. Then we have an in-movie experience, which is picture-in-picture video while you're watching the whole film. You get a little box here with like people talking, and then every now and again there'll be another box here with like stuff that they're talking about while you're watching the film, and it's really interesting. Some of it is recycled from the documentaries we've already seen, so it kind of feels like, oh, I wish they'd just given us a Christopher Nolan audio commentary, but he seems to be quite not reclusive, but he doesn't seem to talk about his films too much in depth. And then we have the best special feature on the Blu-ray by far. We get the prologue of The Dark Knight in Imax. So we get the first few minutes of The Dark Knight, the Joker's introduction, the bank robbery scene, in just like amazing IMAX. It just looks so much better than anything on this whole Blu-ray, including the Batman Begins film itself. So it's almost worth picking up for that. Well, it's not really, because you can just get The Dark Knight, the full film. But I'm not sure when this Blu-ray was released. It must have been released like just before The Dark Knight came out, or maybe a little later, I don't know. But it's cool to have on there anyway, I think. But yeah, Batman Begins, it's a great film, but I think its sequel was the one that really stood out. I'll be talking about that next time in part 13, unlucky number 13, or is it? And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.